Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am Teenie Crochets and today I'm taking a break from the Harry Potter because it was so difficult and I'm still having nightmares about it. So I'm going to be doing what I hope is a simpler pattern today, which is Bob from Minions. So I got this crochet kit from Aldi and it says it is an advanced kit. It includes hook, yarn, stuffing, darning needles and instructions. So I'm going to be working my way through this today. So crochet hooks at the ready and let's get going. Now before we get going, I have completed this, I've done the video and you're going to watch the video now, but you're going to find out quickly that I don't like the pattern and I think the pattern's written really poorly and the doll doesn't turn out looking the best. It looks really unneat and unfinished. So what I have done is I have rewritten the pattern, which I'll leave on my website. I'll leave a link to that down below with all the corrections in it and easier ways of creating this guy. So the box says that this is a advanced technique and the pattern that I've rewritten I would say is a beginner because it's just really difficult how they've written the pattern. So if you bought this kit, watch the video, it'll help you understand what they have meant to say in their pattern instructions. And if you also want to, go over to my website and download the free rewrite of the pattern with corrections involved. So in the kit we got all the yarn that we'll need, and the yarn feels like double knit yarn, so DK yarn. It does feel horrible and wiry and it feels like there's a coating on it, like there's a plastic coating on it. So I didn't have much expectations for the yarns anyway, but we do have a lot of yarn. We got an aluminum crochet hook, so this is 1,000 times better than the plastic ones we've got in previous kits. We also got a metal embroidery needle, which is, just stab myself, which is sellotaped onto the instructions. So we do have a metal embroidery needle, we have the stuffing, and then we have the instructions. So we do have everything that we need. And I forgot to say that this kit was £3.99. Now if you've watched any of my kits before, you'll know that I am not going to use this hook because it just makes everything more difficult for me. So I will be using my own crochet hook that has the ergonomic grip, but I'm pretty sure that the hook that came with the kit will be fine. Now a quick look at the instructional book. So it says skill level advanced, and we open it up, and like all crochet patterns that I buy from Aldi or in the UK, the crochet instructions come written using UK terminology. And if you've been here for a while, you'll know that I crochet using American terminology. So in the UK, a double crochet is classed as a single crochet in America. So I'm going to have to do some conversions when I make this pattern, and I'll put a conversion chart somewhere around the screen so that you know what I am converting the patterns to and from. So, pattern note: a piece of yarn can be used as a stitch marker each time you complete a round. Place the stitch marker in the last stitch made. This marks where the round begins. So we're going to be working in the round. And if you have a trouble with stitch count, I would suggest the same thing. Make sure you put a stitch marker in at the beginning or the end of each round. But I won't be doing this because I will be counting. It has a stitch guide should you be unsure of any of the stitches. And then if we turn it over, we go straight into the pattern. So let's begin. So we're going to begin with the head. And it says, with yellow yarn, make a magic ring. And round 1, 6 double crochet into the magic ring for a total of 6 stitches. So at the end of each row you can see that there's a number in brackets, and that's the amount of stitches at the end of that round. So it also says do not join working continuous rounds, which we already know because we read that in the pattern notes. So double crochet 6 into a magic ring. So I will be doing, because this is UK, in American terminology, I will be doing 6 single crochets into a magic ring. So you can do whatever method you want for your magic ring, but I'll show you how I do mine. So for a magic ring for me, I begin with a slip knot onto hook. Oh, I forgot to mention it's a 3mm hook. slip knot onto hook, and I'm going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and into the second chain from hook I'm going to do 6 single crochets. So 6 single crochets all into this chain space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And that is my equivalent of a magic ring with 6 single crochets into it. So now round 2 says increase 6 times for a total of 12 stitches. So I'm going to do 2 single crochets into every stitch for a total of 12. So for an increase I'm going to do 2 single crochets into every stitch. So 1 and 2 into the first stitch, 3 and 4 into the second stitch, 5 and 6 into the third stitch, 7 and 8 into the fourth, 9 and 10 into the fifth, 11 and 12 into the sixth. So we have 12 single crochets in the round. So round 3 tells us to increase double crochet in the next double crochet 6 times for a total of 18 stitches. One thing's for sure with these patterns that I get from Aldi, there's not the same person who writes them because they're all written so stupid in different ways. So for round 3, what I will be doing is 2 single crochets into one stitch and then single crochet in the next stitch. So I've never seen it double crochet in the next double crochet. It would normally say double crochet in the next stitch 6 times, but that's how they want to do it. So increase followed by a single crochet 6 times for a total of 18 stitches. So increase for 1 and 2 and then single crochet in the next stitch for 3. Increase for 4 and 5, single crochet in the next stitch for 6, increase for 7 and 8, increase in the next single crochet in the next stitch for 9, increase for 10 and 11, single crochet in the next stitch for 12, increase in the next stitch for 13 and 14, single crochet in the next stitch for 15, increase in the next for 16 and 17, then single crochet in the last stitch of this round for 18. So we have 18 single crochets. Now for round 4 it says double crochet in the next 2 double crochets and then increase 6 times for 24 stitches. So I will single crochet into the next 2 stitches and then do 2 single crochets into the following stitch 6 times for 24 stitches. So I'm going to single crochet for 1 and 2, increase in the next stitch for 3 and 4, single crochet 5 and 6, increase in the next for 7 and 8, single crochet 9 and 10, increase in the next for 11 and 12, single crochet 13, 14, increase in the next for 15 and 16, single crochet 17 and 18, increase in the next stitch for 19 and 20, single crochet 21, 22, and increase in the last stitch for 23 and 24. So we're up to round 5 and it says double crochet in the next 3 double crochets, increase 6 times for 30 stitches. So I will single crochet into 3 stitches followed by 2 single crochets into the following stitch 6 times for a total of 30 stitches. So I'm going to single crochet for 1, 2 and 3, increase in the next stitch for 4 and 5, single crochet 6, 7, 8, increase in the next stitch for 9 and 10, single crochet 11, 12, 13, increase in the next stitch for 14 and 15, single crochet 16, 17 and 18, increase in the next stitch for 19 and 20, single crochet 21, 22, 22, 23, increase in the next stitch for 24 and 25, single crochet 26, 27 and 28, and increase in the next stitch for 29 and 30. Okie doke. So we are now up to, where are we up to? We are now up to round 6. So it tells us double crochet in the next 4 double crochet, increase 6 times for 36 stitches. So I will single crochet in 4 stitches, then I'll do 2 single crochets into the following stitch 6 times for 36 stitches. So single crochet for 1, 2, 3, 4, increase in the next stitch for 5 and 6, single crochet 7, 8, 9 and 10, increase in the next stitch for 11 and 12, just release some more yarn, single crochet 13, 14, 15 and 16, increase in the next stitch for 17, 17 and 18, single crochet 19, 20, 21, 22, increase in the next stitch for 23 and 24, single crochet 25, 26, 27, 28, increase in the next stitch for 29 and 30, single crochet 31, 32, 33, 34, and increase in the last stitch for 35 and 36. So round 7, double crochet in the next 5 double crochet, increase 6 times for 42 stitches. So I will single crochet in the next stitch and then do 2 single crochets in the following stitch 6 times for a total of 42 stitches. So single crochet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, increase in the next stitch for 6 and 7, single crochet 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12, increase in the next stitch for 13 and 14, single crochet 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, increase in the next stitch for 20 and 21, single crochet 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, increase in the next stitch for 27 and 28, single crochet 29 and 30, 31, 32, 33, increase in the next stitch for 34 and 35, single crochet 36, 37, 38, 39 and 40, and increase in the last stitch of this round for 41 and 42. So we're getting big now. So next round, round 8, tells us double crochet in the next 6 double crochets, increase 6 times for 48 stitches. So I will single crochet 6 stitches and then do 2 single crochets into the following stitch 6 times for a total of 48 stitches. So single crochet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, increase in the next stitch for 7 and 8, single crochet 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, increase in the next stitch for 15 and 16, single crochet 17, 18, 19 and 20, 21 and 22, increase in the next stitch for 23 and 24, single crochet 25, 26, 27, 28, 29 and 30. Increase in the next stitch for 31 and 32. Single crochet 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. Increase in the next stitch for 39 and 40. Single crochet 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46 and increase in the last stitch for 47 and 48. So we are now up to round 9. So double crochet in 7 double crochets, increase 6 times for 54 stitches. So I will single crochet into 7 stitches, 2 single crochets into the following stitch 6 times for a total of 54 stitches. So let's single crochet for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Increase in the next stitch for 8 and 9. Single crochet 10, 11, 11, 12, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Increase in the next stitch for 17 and 18. Single crochet 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Increase in the next stitch for 26 and 27. Single crochet 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. Increase in the next stitch for 35 and 36. Single crochet 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43. Increase in the next stitch for 44 and 45. Single crochet 46, 47, 48, 49, 51, 52, an increase in the last stitch of this round for 53 and 54. So for the head, we've got one more round of increase. So round 10 says double crochet in the next 8 double crochets, increase 6 times for a total of 60 stitches. So I will single crochet in 8 stitches, 2 single crochets in the following stitch 6 times for a total of 60 stitches. So get some more yarn. So single crochet for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Increase in the next stitch for 9 and 10. Single crochet 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Increase in the next stitch for 19. Let's do it again for 19 and 20. Single crochet 21, 22, 23, 24, 20, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Increase in the next stitch for 29 and 30. Single crochet 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. Increase in the next stitch for 39 and 40. Single crochet 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. Increase in the next stitch for 49 and 50. Single crochet 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, and increase in the last stitch of this round for 59 and 60. So we have our 60 stitches, and it says for rounds 11 to 33, double crochet into each double crochet around. So 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29 and 30, 31, 32, 33. So we're going to do 23 rounds of single crochet. So this would probably be the point where you'd want to put a clip marker or a stitch marker or a piece of yarn here. So let me show you how I'd do that. So I'd get a piece of different coloured yarn and snip it, and at this point I would hook stitch this piece of yarn. So I'd fold it in half, I'd pop it onto my hook and pull it through, and then I'd pass the tails through the loop. So I've put a scrap bit of yarn there, and now I'm going to do 23 rounds of single crochet from this point. So when I finish that, I'll meet you back here. There we go. So that is 23 rows, and I've still got my piece of scrap yarn here, so I can count 23 rows down to make sure it's correct. And then it tells us to finish off. So it doesn't tell us what it means by finish off, but I'm going to presume that it means to fasten off with this yarn. So to do that, I'm going to do a slip stitch into the next stitch to join. I'm going to chain one, and then I'm going to fasten off. So I'm going to cut my yarn, and then I'm going to pull that yarn tail through, and that is the head. And I don't think I realised how big this minion is going to be, but that's a pretty big head. So I can take this scrap yarn off now and put the head to one side, and we'll come back to it later. So next I'm up to the arms, and it tells us to make 2. With yellow yarn, make a magic ring, and then round 1, 6 double crochet into ring for a total of 6 stitches. Do not join, work in continuous rounds. So I will do my version of the magic ring, and then I'll do 6 single crochets into that ring for a total of 6 stitches. So I'm going to do a slip knot onto my hook, and I'm going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and into the second chain from hook I'm going to do 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So I've got 6 single crochets working in the round. Round 2 tells us to increase 1 double crochet 3 times for a total of 9 stitches. So I will single crochet 2 into the first stitch, then I'll single crochet 1, and I'll do that 3 times for a total of 9 stitches. So into the first stitch of this round, I'm going to increase and do 2 single crochets. So 1 and 2 into the first stitch, single crochet for 3, increase in the next stitch for 4 and 5, do 5 again, 4 and 5, single crochet 6, increase in the next stitch for 7 and 8, and then single crochet into the last stitch of this round for stitch number 9. So we have 9 stitches, and it tells us from rounds 3 to 18 double crochet into each double crochet around. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So it's asking us to do 16 rounds of single crochet. So single crochet around these 9 stitches for 16 rounds. So now it tells me to finish off. So again, I'm going to slip stitch in the next stitch to join, chain 1, and I'm going to leave a bit of a longer tail before I cut it, because I assume we'll need this tail to sew the arm onto the minion a little bit later on. So I'm just taking a chance and leaving a longer tail. So if you haven't already, you need to make 2 of these. So next I am up to the eyes, and it says make 2 with white yarn, make a magic ring. Round 1, 6 double crochets into ring for 6 stitches, do not join, work in continuous rounds. So I will make my magic ring and do 6 single crochets into that ring. Okay, so I've got my white yarn. Remember, you're going to have to make 2 of these. So I'm going to begin with a slip knot onto hook, chain 2, 1 and 2, and then 6 single crochets into the second chain from hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. 6 again and 6. So round 2 says increase 6 times for a total of 12 stitches. So I'm going to do 2 single crochets into every stitch around for a total of 12. So into my first stitch, I'm going to do 1 and 2. Into my second stitch, 3 and 4. Into my third, 5 and 6. Into my fourth, 7 and 8. Into my fifth, 9 and 10. And into the last stitch of this round, 11 and 12. So round 3 says increase double crochet in next double crochet 6 times for a total of 18 stitches. So I'm going to do 2 single crochets into the first stitch, followed by 1 single crochet into the next stitch for a total, 6 times for a total of 18 stitches. So into the first stitch, I'm going to do 1 and 2, then single crochet for 3. Increase in the next stitch for 4 and 5, then single crochet for 6. Increase in the next stitch for 7 and 8, and then single crochet for 9. Increase in the next stitch for 10 and 11, then single crochet for 12. Increase in the next stitch for 13 and 14, then single crochet for 15, then increase for 16 and 17, and single crochet for 18. So let me get my ruler. So for round 4, it tells us to double crochet in the next 2 double crochets and then increase 6 times for 24 stitches. So I'm going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then I'm going to do 2 single crochets into the following stitch 6 times for a total of 24. So I'm going to single crochet 1 and 2, and then increase for 3 and 4. Single crochet 5 and 6. Increase in the next stitch for 7 and 8. Single crochet 9 and 10. Increase in the next stitch for 11 and 12. Single crochet 13 and 14. Increase in the next stitch for 15 and 16. Single crochet 17 and 18. Increase in the next stitch for 19 and 20. Single crochet 21, 22. And increase in the last stitch for 23 and 24. So for rounds 5 to 6, which makes no sense, so I think this is an error. So it's for rows 5 to 6, we're going to double crochet in the next 3 stitches and then increase 6 times for a total of 30 stitches. And we can't do that row twice. So I don't know if they want us to increase to 30 and then do a round of single crochets, or if they want us to increase to 30 and then do another row increasing to 36. I have no idea. Well, I don't understand how they haven't spotted these sort of mistakes before selling a kit like this, but I'm going to do what it tells me to do. So I'm going to double crochet in the next 3 double crochets. So I will single crochet in 3 stitches, then do 2 single crochets into the following stitch 6 times for a total of 30 stitches, and then I'll have a think about what I think they want me to do next. So single crochet for 1, 2 and 3, increase in the next stitch for 4 and 5, single crochet, 6, 7, 8, increase in the next stitch for 9 and 10, single crochet, 11, 12, 13, increase in the next stitch for 14 and 15, single crochet, 16, 17, 18, increase in the next stitch for 19 and 20, single crochet, 21, 22, 23, increase in the next stitch for 24 and 25, 25, then single crochet, 26, 27, 28, and increase in the last stitch for 29 and 30. So now I can either fasten off there, I can single crochet around 1 time, or I can increase to 36. I don't know what it intends for me to do. So if I bring in the box 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, I think they want us to fasten off at 30, because from this picture it looks like they've only increased to 30 stitches. So I'm going to fasten off at this point. So I might be wrong, but I've had to make a guess. So I've got 30 stitches, and I'm going to slip stitch in the next stitch to join, chain 1. I'm going to leave a longer tail again because I might need that to sew this onto something later. And there is one of the eyes. So I'm going to do that exactly the same again to make the second. So it's come to the point in the pattern where I'm starting to get frustrated, because I've read a little bit further on and the pattern turns into a little bit of gobbledygook, which is gibberish in other words. So I'm going to get to the point where I have to just make up some of this, because I don't know what it's asking us to do. And the pictures they provide are terrible. The only picture of the minion is this one picture. So we've got no back view, we've got no side view. And when they do these little circles, all that is a blow up or a zoom in of particular area of this one doll. So if we look at all these pictures, they're just zoom ins of that one picture, and I don't need to see zoom ins, I need to see different views of it. Anyway, I'm up to the centre of the eye, make 2, and it says make 1 in green and 1 in brown. Make a magic ring, and then round 1, 10 double crochets into ring for 10 stitches, do not join, work in continuous rounds, finish off. So do not join, work in continuous rounds is a load of nonsense, because that's exactly what it wants us to do. It wants us to join and finish off. So that doesn't need to be there. And then it says embroider pupil with black yarn. So basically what it wants us to do is make a magic ring and then do 10 single crochets into that magic ring, 1 in green, 1 in brown. Then it wants us to take black yarn and hand sew the pupil on. Now I'll try and explain how I would have made the eyes. I would have done row 1 of the eye in black. I then would have done row 2 of the eye in the chosen colour of green and brown. And then I would have done rounds 3 to 5 of the eye in white. There was no reason to break this up. There's no reason to hand embroider. It's just making things difficult. This pattern doesn't need to be an an advanced pattern. It could very easily be an easy pattern if they'd written it better. But I'll follow what they've asked me to do. So with green yarn, it says 10 double crochets into ring. So I'm going to slip knot onto my hook. I'm going to chain 2, 1 and 2. Then into the second chain from hook, I'm going to do 10 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Then it says do not join, work in continuous rounds and finish off. So it wants us to join. So we're going to slip stitch into the next stitch to join, chain 1 and fasten off. So then leave a yarn tail to sew the eye into place shortly. So reading the pattern, it just gets even worse because I've just read the goggles and it tells us to, with grey yarn, chain 30, join to make a ring, so a chain ring of 30. Then it wants us to double crochet into each double crochet around. So it wants us to single crochet into all the stitches around, making a ring. And then finish off. So first of all, they've forgotten to put rounds in, so this should say round 1. And how they want us to make the goggles is to sew the black onto the green, sew the green onto the white, and sew the white onto the grey. And that's not happening. They're just making it so much more difficult. So I'm going to show you how I would make these eyes and how I am going to make these eyes. So with black DK yarn, I'm going to slip knot onto my hook and I'm going to chain 2. And I'm going to do that all again. Slip knot onto hook and chain 2. 1 and 2. Now into the second chain from hook, I'm going to do 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Now I'm going to slip stitch into the first stitch of this round to join. Chain 1 and fasten off. So the next part is going to be the iris colour. So I'm going to do one eye with green yarn and one eye with brown yarn. So with the green yarn, I'm going to slip knot onto hook. This is how I'm going to add the colour. And what I need to do is 2 single crochets into every stitch of this round. So I'm going to increase from 6 stitches to 12. But I need to add the yarn first. So I've slip knot onto hook. I'm going to insert my hook into any of the stitches on the previous round. Yarn over and pull up a loop. So there are 2 loops on my hook. I'm then going to yarn over and pull through both of these loops. So I've added my new coloured yarn and I've done my first single crochet. So remember, I'm going to do 2 single crochets into every stitch. I've already done 1 here, so I'm going to do the second. So I've got 2 single crochets. I'm going to continue to increase in every stitch till 12. So into the next stitch, we're going to increase 4, 3 and 4. 3 and 4. I'm going to increase in the next. Holy moly. I'm going to increase in the next for 5 and 6. Increase in the next for 7 and 8. 7 and 8. Increase in the next for 9 and 10. An increase in the last stitch of this round for 11 and 12. So I'm going to join with a slip stitch into the first stitch of this round, chain 1 and fasten off. So remember, we're going to make the second eye, and when we do that, we're going to do this part in brown. So next I'm going to bring in my white yarn and I'm going to join my white yarn and I'm going to increase to 18 stitches. To do that, I'm going to single crochet into one stitch and then do 2 single crochets into the following stitch 6 times. But first I need to add my yarn. So slip knot onto hook, insert my hook into any stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. So there are 2 loops on my hook, yarn over and pull through both. So I've added my new coloured yarn, which is white, and I've done my first single crochet. So I'm going to increase in the next stitch. So I've single crocheted for 1, and in the next stitch I'm going to increase for 2 and 3. Then I'm going to single crochet 4, increase in the next stitch for 5 and 6. Single crochet 7, increase in the next stitch for 8 and 9. Single crochet 10, increase in the next stitch for 11 and 12. Single crochet 13, increase in the next stitch for 14 and 15. Single crochet 16, increase in the next stitch for 17 and 18. So next I'm going to increase to 24 stitches. To do that, I'm going to single crochet in 2 stitches and then do 2 single crochets into the following stitch 6 times. So I'm going to single crochet for 1 and 2, increase in the next for 3 and 4, single crochet 5 and 6, increase in the next stitch for 7 and 8, single crochet 9 and 10, increase in the next stitch for 11 and 12, single crochet 13 and 14, increase in the next stitch for 15 and 16 and 16, single crochet 17 and 18, increase in the next stitch for 19 and 20, single crochet 21 and 22, and increase in the last stitch of this round for 23 and 24. So we're going to do one more round of increases with white, and we're going to increase from 24 stitches to 30. To do that, I'm going to single crochet into 3 stitches and then I'm going to do 2 single crochets into the following stitch 6 times. So single crochet 1, 2 and 3, increase in the next stitch for 4 and 5, single crochet 6, 7 and 8, increase in the next stitch for 9 and 10, single crochet 11, 12, 13, increase in the next stitch for 14 and 15, single crochet 16, 17 and 18, increase in the next stitch for 19 and 20, single crochet 21, 22, 23, increase in the next stitch for 24 and 25, single crochet 26, 27, 27 again, 27, 28, and increase in the last stitch of this round for 29 and 30. So I'm going to slip stitch to join, chain 1 and fasten off with the white and pull through. So now I'm going to go straight on to attaching the goggles to the eye. So with light grey yarn, I'm going to increase from 30 to 36 stitches on this eye, and to do that I'm going to single crochet 4 stitches, then I'm going to do 2 single crochets into the following stitch 6 times, but I need to add the yarn first. So I'm going to slip knot onto hook, insert my hook into any of the stitches, yarn over, pull up a loop, so there are 2 loops on my hook, yarn over and pull through both. So I've done my first single crochet, so I'm going to continue and single crochet for 2, 3 and 4, and then increase in the next stitch for 5 and 6, single crochet 7, 8, 9, increase in the next stitch, oh no it's not, 9 and 10, single crochet for 10, increase in the next stitch for 11 and 12, single crochet 13, 14, 15 and 16, increase in the next stitch for 17 and 18, single crochet 19, 20, 21, 22, increase in the next stitch for 23 and 24, single crochet 25, 26, 27, 28, increase in the next stitch for 29 and 30, then single crochet 31, 32, 33, 34, and increase in the last stitch of this round for 35 and 36. So I'm going to slip stitch in the first stitch to join, chain 1 and fasten off, and this time I am going to leave a longer tail because I'll use that to sew the goggle into place a little bit later. So that's how I am going to do my Minion's eyes, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing, but the iris is going to be made with brown. So I've done the eyes, so I'm going to pop them to the side while I try and make heads or tails of the rest of this. So the next thing is say Google's goggle sides make 2 with grey yarn, chain 6, 6 double crochet, fasten off. So this just makes no sense, but we're going to try and do something to it. So with grey yarn, slip knot onto hook and chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and then it says 6 double crochet, which is 6 single crochet to me, but we don't have enough chains to do 6 single crochets because that would mean we wouldn't have a turning chain, and what I think they want us to do is single crochet 6, so we should have chained 7. So I'm going to add an extra chain, so I've got 7 single crochets, and then into the second chain from hook and all other chains I'm going to do a single crochet, which will give me a total of 6 single crochets. And obviously they didn't add rounds on again here, but at this point I have no faith in this pattern anyway. So in the second chain from hook I'm going to single crochet, and then I'm going to single crochet in all other chains. 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So it wants us to make something like that, finish off. Okay, so chain 1 and cut my yarn and pull through. So this is what they call the goggle sides. So I'm going to make another one of them. So I'm going to slip knot onto hook, I'm going to chain 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, and I'm going to single crochet into the second chain from hook and all other chains across for a total of 6 single crochets, and then chain 1 and fasten off. So hopefully that's what they mean. So the next thing is the goggle strap. With dark grey yarn, chain 3, then chain 1, so a total of chain 4, and then 3 double crochet. So what this means is chain 4, and then from the second chain from hook, single crochet across for a total of 3 stitches. And it wants us to repeat that. So repeat, single crochet across, chain 1, turn, single crochet across, chain 1, turn, and it wants us to do that for a total of 42 rows. Now, I'm a fan of work smarter, not harder, and this is the hardest way to achieve what they want, which is basically a line of crochet. So instead, I am going to chain 43, and then from the second chain from hook, I'm going to single crochet along all them stitches for a total of 42 stitches, chain 1, single crochet back along them 42 stitches, chain 1 and single crochet back again. So basically, in a nutshell, I'm going to chain 43, single crochet across them 3 times. And it'll save all the chain 1s and turn-ins. So I'm going to begin with a slip knot onto hook, and I'm going to chain 43. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2 and 3. So now I'm going to single crochet into the second chain from hook and all other chains across. So I'm going to single crochet into every chain for a total of 42 stitches. So 42. Now I'm going to chain 1, turn my work and single crochet back across all these 42 stitches. So I'm at the end of that row, chain 1 and turn, and I'm going to do one more length of single crochet. So I'm going to single crochet back across this one more time, and then I'm going to fasten off. And that is how I'm going to make this strap. Chain 1 and fasten off. And there is the goggle strap. So I'm now up to the dungarees, and it says with blue yarn make a magic ring. And now rows 1 to 10 of the dungarees is exactly the same as rows 1 to 10 of the head. So I'm not going to make you watch me do all of that again. So I will leave a timestamp below for you to go back and watch the head pattern again if you don't remember how to do it. So rows 1 to 10 of the dungarees are exactly the same as the head. And once you've finished round 10, you'll have something eventually that looks like this. So this is rows 1 to 10 of the head. So I'm going to continue now with row 11 of the dungarees. So row 11 says double crochet in next 9 double crochets, increase 6 times for a total of 66 stitches. So I'm going to single crochet in 9 stitches and then do 2 single crochets into the following stitch 6 times for a total of 66. So I'm going to single crochet for 1, 2, 3, 4, split the yarn, so do that again, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. Increase in the next stitch for 10 and 11. Single crochet 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Increase in the next stitch for 21 and 22. Single crochet 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. Increase in the next stitch for 32 and 33. Single crochet 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. An increase in the next stitch, get some yarn, increase in the next stitch for 43 and 44, single crochet 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, increase in the next stitch for 54 and 55, then single crochet 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, and increase in the next stitch for 65 and 66. So now for rows 12 to 16, so 12, 13, 14, 15 and 16. So for 5 rounds, I'm going to single crochet into every stitch around. So I'm going to do 5 rounds of single crochet. I'll meet you back here soon. There we go. So I've now finished my 5 rounds of single crochet, and after round 16 it tells us to turn. So we're now going to be working, from what I gather, in rows instead of rounds. So row 17, because we're not working in rounds anymore, says chain 1, 18 double crochets, turn. So I will chain 1 and then I'll do 18 single crochets and then I'll turn. So turn my work, chain 1 and then do 18 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18, turn. So repeat row 17 5 times to form bib. So I'm going to repeat what I've done already for row 17. I'm going to do that 5 more times to create the front of the dungarees. So I've turned my work, I'm going to chain 1, then I'm going to single crochet 18 again. So back across all these stitches, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, chain 1 and turn. So I'm going to do that another 4 times and then we'll continue with the pattern. And at the end of the 5th row it tells us to finish off. So I'm going to chain 1 and cut this yarn tail and pull through. Now it says, let me have a look. So we're up to here. Continuing from round 16, miss 15 stitches and repeat from row 17 to form the back bib. So what they mean here is, if we go to the first stitch we missed when we were making the bib, so we go this side. So if we go to the first stitch, we're going to count 15 stitches and we're going to miss them 15 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. And then into the next stitch, I'm just going to put my hook so I remember the place. And what we're going to do from this stitch, we are going to make a second part of the bib that looks just like this, but on the back. So we've skipped 15 stitches from round 16 and we're going to create a second part of the dungarees. So I am going to first of all get a scrap piece of yarn and I'm going to insert that in place of my hook so I remember that stitch. Now with the blue yarn again, I'm going to slip knot onto my hook and I'm going to insert my hook into the stitch that I identified before. I'm going to yarn over and pull up a loop. So there are 2 loops on my hook and I'm going to yarn over and pull through both of these loops. So I've done my first single crochet and I've attached the colour again. So the pattern says repeat row 17 to form the back of bib. So it wants me to single crochet 18 stitches and turn and then repeat that 5 more times. So I'm going to single crochet across 18 stitches. I've already done 1, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18, chain 1 and turn, and I'm going to do that another 5 times so it'll match exactly the front part of the dungarees, and I'll meet you back here when that's done. And after the 5th row, fasten off and pull through, and there we have the dungarees. So next we're up to the pocket. It says with blue yarn chain 4. So I've got the blue yarn, I'm going to slip knot onto hook, and then I'm going to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. Row 1 says chain 1, 4 double crochets for a total of 4 stitches. So it wants us to do an extra chain, and then we're going to single crochet into the second chain from hook and all other stitches across. So I'm going to do an extra chain, so we've got a total of 5 chains, and then into the second chain from hook, because you always ignore the first chain, I'm going to do a single crochet, and then I'm going to single crochet in the remaining 3 chains. So we've got 4 stitches. Row 2 says chain 1, increase, 2 double crochet, increase. So it hasn't told us to turn, but it does want us to turn. So we're going to chain 1 and turn our work, then we're going to do 2 single crochets into the first stitch, then I'm going to single crochet 2, then I'm going to do 2 single crochets into the last stitch for a total of 6 stitches. So chain 1 and turn the work. Now 2 single crochets into that first stitch, 1 and 2, single crochet 2, 1 and 2, and then 2 single crochets into the last stitch. So 1 and 2. Row 3 to 4 says chain 1, 6 double crochet 6 double crochets. So for the next 2 rows it wants us to chain 1, turn our work, and then single crochet 6. So we're going to do this twice. We're going to chain 1, turn our work, single crochet across these 6 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, chain 1 and turn, single crochet back across 6 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Then it tells us finish off. So chain 1, cut the yarn, pull through, and that is the pocket done. So now we're up to the dungaree straps, and we need to make 2 of these. With blue yarn, chain 2, then chain 1, double crochet 2. So what it wants us to do is chain 3, and then from the second chain from hook, single crochet across the chains for a total of 2 stitches, and then repeat that 27 times. So following the same theory as earlier, work smarter, not harder. And I'm going to do this in reverse. So I'm going to chain 28 stitches. I'm going to single crochet back across all of them stitches for a total of 27 stitches. I'm going to chain 1, turn, and single crochet back across the stitches. And it's going to be a lot easier than doing it the way they've said here. So with the blue yarn, slip knot onto hook, chain 27. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27 and 28. So I've got 28 chains. Now into the second chain from hook, single crochet 1, then single crochet into all other chains. So we'll have 27 stitches. And at the end of them stitches, I'm going to chain 1, turn my work and single crochet back across these 27 stitches one more time. So one more row of single crochet. On the last stitch, chain 1 and fasten off. And that is a dungaree strap. Now you need to go away and make another one of these. Now the last two things we have to do are the hands and the legs. And for the sake of not wasting your time, I can't even begin to explain the rubbish that is written here. So if we go to the legs, it told me, because I've already actually made these and then I've gone away and made them in a different way, which is the way I'm going to show you, but so that you can trust and take my word for it. For the legs, it asked me to chain 14 in blue and then join into a ring and then single crochet around that ring twice. So this is what I was left with, which was a 14 stitch chain in the round. It then asked me to make the shoe, and they've decided to write this pattern different to any other way that they've written it. So at this point, I'm convinced there's a different pattern writer here, because the way they've written the pattern doesn't match anything else in the whole leaflet. So to make the shoe with dark green yarn, they advised to make this, which is a total of 8 stitches. And then what they want me to do is to sew these 8 stitches onto the 14 stitches. So there's something wrong with the math of the creators, because these two things do not go together. They do not sew together. 14 stitches does not go into 8. So instead of wasting your time and going all the way through the rubbish that they wrote, I'm going to ask that you trust me that it was a load of rubbish, and I'll just show you how I made the legs. So beginning with the dark grey yarn, slip knot onto hook, and I'm going to chain 2, so 1 and 2. Into the second chain from hook, I'm going to do 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. For the next round, I'm going to do 2 single crochets into every stitch. So I'm going to increase from 6 stitches to 12. So 1 and 2 into the first stitch, 3 and 4 into the second, 5 and 6 into the third, 7 and 8 into the fourth, 9 and 10 into the 5th, 11 and 12 into the 6th. So I've got 12 stitches, and I'm going to single crochet around these 12 stitches for 3 rows. So 3 rounds of single crochet. And after the 3 rounds, I'm going to finish with the grey yarn. So I'm going to slip stitch into the next stitch to join, chain 1 and fasten off. Pull the yarn tail through. Then I'm going to get the blue yarn, and I'm going to do 4 rounds of blue. So first things first, let's attach the new colour, slip knot onto hook, insert my hook into any stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, so there are 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through both. So we've done the first single crochet, and now I'm going to do 4 rounds of single crochet in blue. And after the 4 rounds, slip stitch to join and fasten off. I'm going to leave a bit of a tail because I'll use that tail to sew this onto the minion in a little bit. So there is the leg. So I've got 2 of these, and believe me when I say that was 1,000 times easier than what they tried to get us to do. And the last things we're up to are the hands and the thumb, and again, disregard this. I'm going to show you how to make the hand with the grey yarn, slip knot onto hook, chain 2, 1 and 2, 6 single crochets into the second chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Then increase from 6 to 12 by doing 2 single crochets into every stitch, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 9 and 10, 11 and 12. So it's at this point that I've just realised I think I'm going to rewrite this pattern and put it up on my website for people, because this pattern is just me. It just gets me so angry how poorly something can be written. There is no need for it to be this hard, and it could be a beginner, an easy to beginner pattern if someone wrote it correctly. So I'm going to rewrite it and I'm going to post it on my website. So I'll leave a link below for that. And if I don't, I'm saying it now in case I don't remember to record an intro at the beginning saying that. So if you're struggling with this pattern, go and download a copy that is written, hopefully written better than this. But yeah, so we've got 12 stitches for the hand, and I'm going to single crochet around these 12 stitches for 5 rows. So 5 rows of single crochet, and then it's time to construct the minion and put them together. So 5 rounds of single crochet, and I'll meet you back here when I'm done. Then after my 5 rounds, I'm going to fasten off and pull through. So to finish off the hand, we need to bring in the arm, and I've stuffed the arm, and I'm going to pop the tail, and I'm going to pop the hand that we've made onto the bottom of the arm, because we still need to do his thumb. And I'm going to pop this tail onto my embroidery needle. I'm going to wrong embroidery needle. I've lost my embroidery needle. I've found it. Okay, so I'm going to pop the yarn tail onto the needle, and the first thing I'm going to do is to sew the hand into place. So I'm just going to go around the top of the hand and do a couple of stitches. And now to make the thumb, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew over the same couple of stitches multiple times to make it protrude. So I'm going to do the same stitch over and over again on top of it, so that it gets bigger and bigger and a thumb starts to protrude out. This is the same way that I make noses for my dolls. So you can see, well, maybe you can't, on the white background maybe, the thumb is sticking out. So one more. And then I'm going to weave in my tail and cut. So now it's time to construct the minion, and it says join the head to the body, stuff everything, so on so on. So I'm going to get rid of this pattern now because I just want it out my sight. And I'm going to bring the head and the dungarees back in, and you're just not going to believe this. You're really not going to believe this. Even though the dungarees are 6 stitches bigger than the head, because the circumference of this was 66 stitches and the circumference of the head was 60 stitches, look how much smaller the dungarees are to the head. And why is that? For those of you who understand yarn weights, you can get yarn in different thickness. So the yarn I always use is called double knit yarn, and I make sure that all the yarn I buy is double knit, so that if I make 2 pieces like this, they will always be the same size. Now I've just gone back to get the yellow and the blue yarn out of the Minion box, and the yarn weights of these is not the same. The yellow, as hard as it is to see on the camera, is about double the thickness of the blue. So every stitch I did in yellow is going to be bigger than one stitch in blue. So what I then did was I got my ruler and I measured out an inch on my work, and I counted how many rows fitted in that inch. So in 1 inch of yellow we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We get 6 rows. So 1 inch of yellow equals 6 rows. If we bring in the blue, and again I'll measure 1 inch, and at 1 inch of blue we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh sorry, let me do that again. I started from the wrong place. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we get 7 rows of blue and 6 rows of yellow. So that shows you how much bigger the yellow cotton was. And the problem I'm going to have now, and everyone else probably who bought this kit, is how are we going to get these to sew together? Because the yellow is so much bigger. So let's try and do it. I honestly at this point wish they'd stop selling these kits, because crochet is a lovely, lovely hobby, and this would just put you off. This would put you off learning. So I've stuffed the head, and then I'm going to attach some yellow yarn to use it for sewing. I didn't leave a long tail on the head because I didn't think I'd need it, but I do. So I'm going to take a length of yellow yarn, and I'm going to thread it through one of the stitches on the head and then tie a knot to secure. And now I'm going to use this to sew the pieces together. So technically, actually there's no technically about it. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'll try and make it work. So I'm going to sew 1 stitch to 1 stitch. So I'm going to sew all the way up to that front part of the dungaree, and I'm going to stop here for a second because I'll need to use blue yarn to sew that into place. So I probably should have did that with blue yarn, but I'm going to fasten off with the yellow at this place. So I'm going to do a couple of stitches of yellow and then thread it into the back of my work. Weave in the yellow and cut. And I'm going to attach some blue yarn instead. So just like I did with the yellow, I'm going to go from back to front and then tie a knot to secure. And I'm going to, well, how am I going to do this? I don't even know how I'm going to do this. I suppose I'm just going to have to sew straight across. I'm going to hold, shall I put some pins in? I'll put some pins in. I'm going to pin the front of the dungaree into place. Ow. Okay. The only thing I can think of doing is to go through like this. Look how much tighter the blue's pulling in because it's so much smaller than the head. It's gonna look, I can just imagine how stupid this is gonna look at the end. If I had written this pattern, I would have made the head and the body in one piece and just changed the colour. And then gone back later and added the front and back of the dungaree. But alas, I did not write this pattern. Okay, I'm going to take these pins out because I keep stabbing myself. I'll use this yarn tail to sew it into place in a little bit, or should I do that now? Now, I'm going to continue sewing it on for now. So now, continuing with the blue, I'm going to do what we did earlier, and one stitch from the yellow, one stitch from the blue. And you've got to remember, we need to finish stuffing him before we completely sew him up. So I've only stuffed the head so far, and I haven't even stuffed that really well. So before I close this hole up shortly, I need to finish stuffing him. Okay, so we're at the opposite side for the bib. They called it a bib, but the dungaree front. I am going to pop some more stuffing in. They didn't give me a lot of stuffing, so I'm not going to be able to make them nice and firm. I'm only going to do them like that, about that much, maybe. Now I'm going to pin the back of the bib into place. Ow! And now sew across, attaching the bottom part together. I'm trying to look through the stitches to make sure I'm picking up the yellow part, to make sure they get attached. Oh, I'm going to have to take these pins out. I'm just stabbing myself. God, he looks so stupid. And with this tail, whilst I've got it attached, I'm going to sew the front and back of the dungarees into place. This minion reminds me of me after lockdown, when I'd put on so much weight and I couldn't fit in any of my clothes anymore. He is squoze into the blue part. Okay, and I'm I'm going to thread this tail to the opposite side so I can use it to sew the other part of the dungaree into place. Okay, this tail's getting a little bit too small, so I'm going to weave it in and cut it off, and I'm going to finish this half with the tail that's already attached. And then weave that tail in and cut, and then weave all other tails in. So there you have the completed minion. I've sewn them all together, and I did that off camera because I didn't want to bore you with it, but you can tell what he is. You can tell that he's a minion. It's not a clean finished product that I would normally like, but it turned out to what it was meant to be. So I didn't end up using the goggle side parts. I couldn't figure out why they were part of the pattern, but I just attached the goggle strap directly to the goggles. I also gave him a side smile, but I feel like it should be an unhappy smile because of how bad the pattern was. I would have liked more stuffing in the pack. It's like he's deflated because there just wasn't enough stuffing to fill him out properly, but that was the least of the problems with this pattern. So I didn't like it. I think it was very poorly written, but I do hope that someone who purchased the pattern, couldn't figure it out, finds this video and is able to complete their doll. There were loads of problems, as you already know, and so far this is one of the worst patterns and the worst box sets that I have done. So yeah, that's basically it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, click that subscribe button. I do a lot of crochet pattern reviews, and I also do a lot of just crochet tutorials. So have a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.